This is an abbreviated version of the CBS Evening News. Susan Spencer reporting tonight from our Iowa caucus headquarters in Des Moines. Good evening. With just over 24 hours to go before the first votes, things are getting tense here in Iowa, tense and, in the case of the Republicans, downright nasty. Bob Dole and George Bush were trying to cool their feud today, but the sparks here were flying sort of from the back of the pack, and Bill Whitaker is here to talk about that. Bill, how are the Republicans doing today?
Well, Susan, as you said, the Republicans are fighting again, but it's not the front runners, Bob Dole and George Bush, as it has been for the past few weeks. Today it was Jack Kemp and Pat Robertson. Now, the two of them are going after the evangelical vote, and today Kemp accused Robertson of trying to hurt him with those voters, and he showed us a Robertson campaign leaflet that says that Kemp is soft on pornography and abortion. And these are two accusations that Kemp denies vigorously.
Is there any way to know how many evangelicals are going to turn out?
That is the big question. The Robertson folks say that their numbers, that they are out there, and they're not folks who get picked up on the polls, but that he expects them to come out in large numbers on caucus night and give him the edge.
And could that in any way jeopardize what we think to be the front runner, Bob Dole?
At this point, that doesn't seem likely. As a matter of fact, there's been a poll that shows that Dole is well liked by the evangelicals. So if they do come out, it's really not a guarantee that they'll go wholeheartedly for Robertson.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill Whitaker. On the Democratic side, it was an equally frenetic day with the focus predictably on the front runner, thought to be Dick Gephardt, and on the candidate most likely to pull an upset, whoever that is. Bruce Morton is here to talk about that. Bruce?
Susan, Gephardt is the front runner in an interesting way. The final Des Moines Register poll, which is in this morning's paper, shows him with the most support, but with the shallowest support. When the Register went ahead and said, now are you absolutely positive you're going to go to your caucus? Amongst those people, the winner was Democratic Senator Paul Simon of Illinois. So this is a very close race, and you can't really rule out the third man with a big, formidable organization either. That's Michael Dukakis, the governor of Massachusetts. It may come down simply to organization, to which campaign can get its people to go to caucuses. It may come down to the weather, and the last forecast I saw talked about snow.
And what will that mean?
Well, that means, I think, that the most fervent people are the ones most likely to go. Presumably that helps Simon and hurts Gephardt.
But in any case, we are likely to be looking very closely at whoever comes in second here, as much as we do who comes in first.
Well, there's a whole tribe of people who come to Des Moines called spin doctors. Every campaign has one, and their mission is to convince you that sixth, if that's where you finish, is just great.
Well, do not let them sway you at all. In other news, 5 more Palestinian deaths were reported today in Israel's occupied territories, and top Israeli officials are said to have told the cabinet there is no end in sight to the violence. Bob Simon has our report.
There were riots all over the West Bank today. There were riots in little villages on stony hills, which no one had ever heard of because nothing had ever happened there before. It was the worst day in weeks, but to know just how bad it was, you had to leave the streets and go to the hospitals. In Ramallah's hospital, we saw a boy shot in the leg, a woman beaten in the face, a boy shot in the stomach, a pregnant woman whose house was gassed. On the streets of Ramallah, soldiers were finding it increasingly difficult to make arrests. When troops tried to nab this young man, mothers intervened. It became a tug of war, a struggle between the army and the people of Ramallah, the kind of war the Israeli command really wanted to avoid. Reinforcements arrived and didn't quite know what to do. It had an air of burlesque at times, and then it went nasty, very nasty. Some American exchange students got involved, and the boy was carried to a jeep, but it wasn't over. Another group of women tried to tear him away. Meanwhile, fresh casualties were arriving at an Arab hospital in East Jerusalem. A man with a bullet in his chest, a man with a gunshot wound in the head, prognosis poor, a man with his face beaten to a pulp, another man with a chest wound, and a 15-year-old boy from Gaza who'd received a blow to his head.
I think he will die soon. We can't do anything for him. Our theater is full of injured people. We don't have places.
Clubs and stones. It sometimes seems as if the battle is returning to its tribal origins, a shepherd's war.
In this we take our land.
Stoning is how people were put to death in biblical times. It's how some Arabs tried to kill 28-year-old Meshulam Moskowitz, a West Bank settler who came here from Brooklyn 3 years ago.
The funny thing is that everyone says, oh, what's a stone? Well, here's what a stone is. This is exactly what a stone does. Take a look.
By evening, more than a dozen West Bank towns and villages were under curfew. By evening, that 15-year-old boy from Gaza was dead. Doctors say the Israeli settler will recover and be able to return to his life on the West Bank of the Jordan.
What's the answer?
The answer? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for you.
Bob Simon, CBS News, Jerusalem.
That's our abbreviated news. I'm Susan Spencer. CBS Sports coverage of the Pebble Beach National Pro-Am returns in a moment with the start of the sudden death playoff.
Walter, this is Mother. Mother, Walter wants to use the phone.
Fine, right there.
Second-class phones, they're making second-class phones.
Oh, that silly phone. Use our AT&T phone in there.
For phones that work like phones are supposed to work, stick with the first-class phones of AT&T.
It's okay. It works.
Mommy buys me cards to send to my grandma's. But first I gotta sign them. Grandma's needs lots of colors. And dinosaurs. You're going to Grandma. You stay there. My grandma's love dinosaurs.
Express your love with Valentine's from Hallmark. The place to go when you care enough to send the very best.
We here at CBS Sports, in our second week of coverage of the PGA Tour, go into our second playoff.